Are you drinking this time, Scarlett?
I hope you're not drinking.
I'm always drinking,
Oh,
but
God
you know.
damn it. Okay, now, before the episode starts, I thought it'd be very funny to tell you something.
Oh dear.
Alright, so, you remember the last story we read?
Yeah,
Which one?
vaguely.
The Sonic one?
Yeah. Oh.
I've repressed it from my memories, but continue.
I mean, I don't remember reading it, but I remember you saying we've read it.
Alright, well, here's the thing. There's a part 2, and he's turned it
Nope.
into a novel.
Blech.
The novel's a separate story. So he's written a part 2, and I don't know if he's finished it, but he was writing a novel of it.
Run that by me again. He's writing a novel.
Yes, he wrote a sequel, and then he decided to combine them both, and he turned it into a novel.
No.
He's also written another one called Inugami, but we just won't go there.
Let's not do that.
And something like I was watching Bad CreepyPasta Reader, so I don't know if he's finished it. But in the story, everyone gets like evil demonic Sonic comes out and sucks everyone pulls their souls out from their intestines, because that's apparently where the souls are kept. And he sticks them inside the Sonic game where they become their favourite Sonic characters. The thing is, at the beginning, he picked his favourite character as Silver, which means he's going to be a superhero in his own story, because Silver has telekinetic powers. And I just slammed my head into the desk when I realised this.
Yeah, that is an immediate no, not reading that.
So,
Yeah.
So, I was going to say, how drunk do we all have to be before we go on to the novel?
Let's do the drinking game in the novel.
100% blood alcohol level.
I think we'd die.
Exactly.
Let's go. Let's do it.
Right.
Look, just hook yourself up to a dialysis machine, but instead of it putting blood back into you, just replace it with pure
With
ethanol.
alcohol.
Just pure ethanol.
Yeah, let's get some wood alcohol up in this.
I mean, you die, but that's not the point.
Yes.
Yeah,
2 shots
so-
of wood alcohol can kill someone. I mean, that's the only way to
Yeah.
deal with that song. Story.
Yeah.
Are you saying, pour alcohol onto it and then bring something known as, fire?
Yeah, probably.
Awesome. Okay, I understand now. But anyway, since the last story we read was kind of a hyper-realistic tragedy, Scarlett has requested we read something good today.
As sort of a detox.
Obviously.
So, yeah, we were reading the Russian
Yep.
sleep experiment.
And I am the Astral Alchemist.
I'm Cal.
And I am Uni, and we are the Scrapyard Saviours.
Woo! That was the
That's
longest
really
intro. Yeah, that's the longest intro we've ever done, but I don't care. I had to tell you guys that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the entire intro.
Yeah, that was the
Thanks
intro.
for watching.
But yeah, we're reading
I
the
can't
Russian
remember
experiment.
I can't remember too much about this, but what I remember, obviously, it's set in Russia and it's in the 40s.
It's set in
Is it
Russia?
set in Russia?
Well,
I thought
Shit.
it was set in China. Shit.
Oh no, it is set in China. I was
I
wrong.
thought
No.
I thought it was
Well,
set in
well, they're at
Ghana.
war with, at war
Misinformation,
with
Cal.
Germany.
Jesus.
Yeah,
Anyway,
well, they're at war with Germany. So.
I only know this story exists, but I never read it, because unfortunately I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to bad creepypastas. I'm not much of a nerd when it comes to good ones.
Neither am I.
Most
The
of
only
them
one
are
I know.
bad, so...
Yeah.
Although I do know No End House, and that's a good one, so there are some that I know. But anyway, should we do what we always do, read a paragraph each?
Yeah.
Right.
Callum, I've already seen your paragraph.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, good. I see Smile Dog in the bloody corner. Doing his
What?
Smile Dog, he's doing the pedigree advert.
Oh, that's gone.
Yeah.
Petey's gone.
I'm not going to. I won't move because I know some people get triggered by that photo, so I won't put it up.
Hmm.
Anyway, so should we get started, shall we? Everything recording. Everything.
There's Smile Dog.
What? Wait, what?
Smile Dog's back.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, there he is. I like to joke that he looks. Like
Oh,
he's
it's
doing a pedigree
topped
advert.
by Squidward suicide.
God damn it.
That's
Alright.
if that's not a perfect image for this site, I don't know what is.
Smile suicide. Great. That sounds like a great creepypasta.
Smile
Yeah.
suicide. Why does that sound like a...
The rag. Okay, we'll stop looking at that now because the viewers can't see it. Russian researchers in the late 1940s kept 5 people awake for 15 days using an experimental gas-based stimulant. Meh, can't read. They were kept in a sealed environment to carefully monitor their oxygen intake so the gas didn't kill them. I'm sorry, I just need a moment.
Nice.
The grammar is good.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
read.
Grammar is good. I just need a moment. I'm sorry.
Yeah, why
Oh,
do you
God.
think I chose this one
Oh,
to
my
sort of
God.
refresh us?
Yes. Oh my God. Like there's capitals. Oh, okay. Okay, calm down. You're fine. You're fine. Since it was toxic in high concentrations, this was before closed circuit cameras, so they had only microphones and 5-inch thick glass portholes sized windows into the chamber to monitor them. That's depressing. The chamber was stocked with books, okay, not so depressing now, cots to sleep on, but no bedding, never mind, running water and toilet. Ew.
The toilet was running! Go fetch it!
I mean, I think
Sorry.
the toilet would get more votes than Trump, let's face it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
And enough dried food to last all five for over a month. It's very hard to read this, so I keep expecting to read it stupidly or to read it like ironically, but it's actually written well.
It's
I'm
a proper one.
I'm so used to reading bad stories now that I don't know how to read properly anymore.
Celestial.exe, the one good one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright, the test subjects were political prisoners deemed enemies of the state during World War II. So these will be like German prisoners mostly.
Enemies of the Soviet Union.
So basically political prisoners from Axis countries.
Ooh.
You don't need to explain.
He does to me because I'm an idiot. Thank you, Cal.
No, you're not.
Thank you, Scarlett.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's your turn.
Everything was fine for the first 5 days. The subjects hardly complained, having been promised, falsely, that they would be freed if they submitted to the test and did not sleep for 30 days.
Oh, Jesus.
I mean, I would have been like, nah, execute me now, mate.
I don't actually know how long it takes for you to die without sleeping.
Probably less than a month.
I would think so. I'm not too sure, actually.
Carl, look it up. Look it up while I read. Their conversations and activities were monitored, and it was noted that they continued to talk about increasingly traumatic incidents in their past, and the general tone of conversations took on a darker aspect after the 4-day mark.
Ooh, okay, my turn. After 5 days...
Just one thing.
What?
I googled it. It's unclear how long humans can survive because people just pass out. But it's like longest is 11 days.
Oh.
Jesus.
I think I heard about that. Guy. I forgot.
I was just about to say something supremely stupid.
I mean,
What?
we're all stupid.
I was just going to say, I bet he was really tired. No!
Oh my
Come on,
God.
sick.
Alright, where are we? After 5 days, they started to complain about the circumstances and events that led them to where they were and started to demonstrate severe paranoia. I figured that. They stopped talking to each other and began alternatively whispering to the microphones and one-way mirrored portholes. Oddly, they all seemed to think they could win the trust of the experimenters by turning over their comrades. Wow. The other subjects in captivity with them. At first, the researchers suspected this was an effect of the gas itself. Just move the thing up. Oh, that didn't work. Okay. Just a moment, I need to move it up. About there should do it.
Okay, are you ready?
Is it after 3 more days have passed that? Oh no, after 9 days.
After 9.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I've got it right place. Good. Okay, sorry.
Well,
After 9 days, the first of them started screaming. He ran the length of the chamber repeatedly, yelling at the top of his lungs for 3 hours straight.
that's
He
like me
continued
trying to play any game.
How'd you have energy to do that?
He continued attempting to scream, but was only able to produce occasional squeaks.
Oh.
The researchers postulated that he had physically torn his
Ugh.
vocal cords.
Ew.
Possible.
Yeah,
Ew.
it's possible.
It is, but
The most surprising thing about this behavior is how the other captives reacted to it, or rather didn't react to it. They continued whispering into their microphones until the second of the captives started to scream. The 2 non-screaming captives took the books apart, smeared page after page with their own feces, and pasted them
Right.
calmly over the glass portholes. The screaming
Calmly.
As a-
This was like
this is
putting
offensive.
wallpaper up.
I just got an immense living room, just picking it up with a little smile, just pottering over and just placing it on the window.
No.
Poor books.
Scarlett, your massive line.
Go, Scarlett.
I'm not sure I can do this.
I mean, we believe you, Scarlett. We believe.
It's such a long
okay.
paragraph. I don't know how you would do it.
So did the whisperings to the microphones. Is
There
it
we
bad that I almost screwed that up?
Yes.
You almost lost
Very.
your Oscar there. Well done, Scarlett. Well done. Okay. So it's been how many days? Oh, after 9 days. Okay. Then so it's 12 days so far.
Yep.
Okay, they've already beaten that guy you've looked up. After 3 more days passed, the researchers. After 3 more days passed, the researchers checked the microphones hourly to make sure they were working, since they thought it impossible that no sound could be coming from with 5 people inside. The oxygen consumption in the chamber indicated that all 5 must still be alive. In fact, it was the amount of oxygen 5 people would consume at a very heavy level of strenuous exercise. On the morning of the 14th day, the researchers did something they said they would not do to get a reaction from the captives. They used the intercom inside the chamber, hoping to provoke any response from the captives. They were afraid. Oh, I can't read that. For the captives, they were afraid were either dead or vegetables. Oh, okay. I thought they were saying they were afraid, but no, I was okay. That's why I was like, wait, did I read that wrong? Blah, 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 blah.
You're just expecting bad grammar, so when there's good grammar,
I'm
you can't read
expecting
it.
bad grammar and it's screwing me up. Okay, let me just make sure I got... Yeah.
Aren't we just glad that the things in speech marks aren't written in Russian?
Oh, thank
Yes.
goodness, yes. Oh, what you
That
getting
would
to
be
reading?
funny.
What'd
Well,
be getting
you'd just
you
be
to
reading it all,
Yeah,
wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would.
Thank
They
you.
announced we are opening the chamber to test the microphones. Step away from the door and lie flat on the floor, or you will be shot. Compliance will earn one of you your immediate freedom.
That's dickish.
Only one. The rest of you can fuck off. Right.
You got the Scarlet.
To their surprise, they heard a single frame. Fred said there.
We can't read.
You've been on that gas as well.
Always. They heard a single phrase in a calm voice respond, "We no longer want to be freed."
I feel like they're gonna start singing a song about revolution or something. Alright. I'm not sure how the... do you hear the people sing? Okay, sorry. Debate broke... Oh, I'm really right line, sorry. Debate broke out among the researchers and the military forces funding the research. Unable to provoke any more response using the intercom, it was finally decided to open the chamber at midnight on the 15th day. That sounds like a terrible idea. That's a terrible idea.
Yeah. We're still on screen? Or do you need to scroll up?
Oh, no, I'm fine.
Okay. The chamber was flushed of the stimulant gas and filled with fresh air, and immediately voices from the microphones began to object. 3 different voices began begging, as if pleading for the life of loved ones to turn the gas back on.
Oh, God.
The chamber was opened, and the soldiers sent in to retrieve the test subjects. They began to scream louder than ever, and so did the soldiers when they saw what was inside. 4 of the 5 subjects were still alive, although no one could rightly call the state that any of them were in life. I probably didn't read that right.
I think you did.
Alright, close enough.
Close enough. So one's dead.
Yeah.
I mean,
One has
you guys are fucking terrible at observation.
I mean, they put should we say wallpaper over the portholes.
That is true, but you know, like they're meant to be observing these people, but they're not observing them anymore. So
Yeah.
you guys aren't very
Well,
good
they
at your
covered up-
job.
They covered up the windows, and you don't exactly have CCTV in the 40s.
They could just, go in, remove it.
I think that's what they've done now.
I'd
isn't
rather.
it? This is gonna go swimmingly, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Have fun, Scarlett.
The food rations past day 5 had not been so much as touched. There were chunks of meat from the dead test subject's thighs and chest stuffed into a drain in the centre of the chamber, blocking the drain and allowing 4 inches of water, very specific, to accumulate on the floor. Precisely how much of the water on the floor was actually blood was never determined.
Wow.
How would you determine it? What has a higher boiling point?
What, water or blood?
Yeah.
I'm going to Google that and probably get put on a list.
I also guess water, but I don't know.
I'd say
So
water.
they said chunks of meat from the dead test subject. So they basically been eating
The same.
the other guy.
They've got the same.
Same
Wow.
boiling point.
Well,
Oh, that's good. That's interesting, actually.
like the lessons from Celestial.exe.
Yeah.
So yeah, are they?
Science.
Have they gone to cannibalism or something?
I think they're just a little munch.
I mean,
Little nibble. Well,
okay, yeah, blah, 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 but where
Sort
are
of
we?
Skin torn away from their bodies.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
There you go.
The destruction of flesh and exposed bone on their fingertips indicated the wounds were inflicted by hand,
Ooh.
not with teeth, as researchers initially thought. Closer examination of the position and angle of the wounds indicated that most, if not all of them, were self-inflicted.
Wait, hold on. So, they become Wendigo without eating?
Yeah.
I don't know what that is, so I'm going to agree.
They're cannibal. They're like Native American cannibals.
Right.
It's from Until Dawn, the game.
Yeah, I know Until Dawn.
Yeah, the blah 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 blah.
La, 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 la.
It's like a spirit that possesses your body if you turn to cannibalism, and it basically turns you into like a monster that can't stop eating people. So basically, the way you don't get possessed by the Wendigo is that you don't go turn to cannibalism. But if you're lost in the forest and you're starving to death and your friend is there, you know,
just looking more and more delicious by the day.
You know, like that cartoon where they just turn into a chicken or a great big bit of steak.
Although,
Taking the time
don't they fall in a mine and then she eats her dead sister or something like
Yeah,
that?
she does.
Taking the phrase "looking like a snack" to a whole new level.
This has been Celestial.exe. The abdominal organs below the ribcage of all 4 test subjects had been removed.
You can survive with them, Matt.
Evidently.
Very long, but...
Okay. Well, maybe they just were they just drew a circle and tried to raise someone from the dead, like in Full Metal Alchemist, but it went very wrong.
Yeah, they were trying to raise their friend from the dead.
Oh,
the
that's
one that
what
died.
it is. Yeah, that's exactly. We solved
Okay,
the case.
fine, they're being
Yes.
normal.
We solved it. While the heart, lungs, and diaphragm remained in place, the skin and most of the muscles attached to the ribs had been ripped off. I mean, yes.
So they'd be looking like Davros now.
Who's
Yeah.
that?
Doctor Who character.
Fine.
Alright, I need to look that up. Exposing the lungs through the rib cage. All the blood vessels and organs remained intact. They had just been taken out and laid on the floor.
That is impressive.
That is impressive. Fanning out the eviscerated but still living bodies of the subjects. The digestive tract of all 4 could be seen to be working, digesting food. I mean, that's one way to do science. You know, you can see how it works from outside, externally. That's clever. It quickly became apparent that what they were digesting was their own flesh that they had ripped off and eaten over the course of days. Oh my god, they are Wendigo.
Yeah.
They have become
Do they
Wendigo.
count if you're eating yourself?
It's just cannibalism.
I had this question with someone before, and I don't know the answer. I'm Googling it.
I think it probably is. What are we up to?
I read a poster my dad had a badge that said, "Is it cannibalism if you eat a vegetarian?"
Yeah.
It is literally just called self-cannibalism. Auto-cannibalism. A similar term applied differently to autophagy.
What the fuck is wrong with our search histories after this?
Oh,
I don't want to know. Hey, Callum, I think we're on the
all
same
our
list now.
lists. Yeah. You were already on that list, knowing you.
Oh,
Oh.
God damn it.
True. Right. Most of the soldiers were Russian special operatives at the facility, but still many refused to return to the chamber to remove the test subjects. I don't blame them.
Yeah.
Just like, oh, you know what, mate? I'll pass.
Is it one of those things
Yeah.
you just open the door, see it, and just like the Homer Simpson gif, they just slowly back away?
Yeah.
Like,
They continued to scream to be left in the chamber and alternatively begged and demanded that the gas be turned on, lest they fall asleep.
Okay, they're drugged.
Well,
high.
that is the thing.
They're very high.
To everyone's surprise, the test subjects put up a fierce fight in the process of being removed from the chamber. One of the Russian soldiers died from having his throat ripped out, another was gravely injured by having his testicles ripped off, and an artery in his leg severed by one of the subject's teeth. Please say the testicles weren't removed by the teeth as well.
Oh, I think they were.
They were, 'cause it does say ripped off.
Another 5 of the soldiers lost their lives if you count ones that committed suicides in the week following the incident.
Oh dear.
Oh, no.
scroll up a bit. Okay, I'm gonna go. Let me just scroll up a tiny bit. Oh.
Wrong way.
Yep, just checking I've got the right one. It's in the struggle, right? I'm not sure which
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, wait.
Sure.
In the struggle, one of the 4 living subjects had his spleen ruptured, and he bled out almost immediately. Well,
Oh, that crossed the line.
so
Tearing your own organs out, that's fine. What the moment your spleen ruptures, that's when you die.
Yeah.
The medical researchers attempted to sedate him, but this proved impossible. I would have thought so. He was injected with more than 10 times a human dose of morphine, derivative, and still fought like a cornered animal, breaking the ribs and arms of one doctor. Okay, they have superpowers now. Well,
What is that gas?
Yeah, I know. I would ask to have some, but I'd rather not eat my own organs.
Yeah.
When Hart was seen to beat for a full 2 minutes after he had bled out to the point there was no more air in his vascular system than blood. Did I read that right?
Yeah.
I think that was one error.
Yeah, that was there wasn't many commas there, so I was like, oh my god. Okay, I think you need to put a comma in there, but oh well. Even after it stopped, he continued to scream and flail for another 3 minutes, struggling to attack anyone in reach and just repeating the word more over and over, weaker and weaker, until he finally fell silent. He did.
Mm.
Rip.
Right. That's the only answer for that one. Right.
Yeah. The surviving 3 test subjects were heavily restrained and moved to a medical facility. The 2 with intact vocal cords continuously begging for the gas and demanding to be kept awake.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Why have none of them been shot?
Because
It's a good question, actually.
I guess they want them alive.
Maybe the trigger-happy communists are actually being quite nice.
I mean,
Well, they're not being nice. They just want to know the results of their experiment.
well, I
That is a
think
good
they have enough results now. They've become Wendigo.
I think the results is the gas doesn't work.
Like, actually,
No, tell a lie. It does work, just too well.
Conspiracy
Yeah, but
theory.
they probably want to know now if they can weaponize it.
Yeah, conspiracy theory. What if they sold it? They took this gas and sold it to the Native Americans, and that became the Wendigo spirit.
Oh dear.
Ah!
Tinfoil hat time.
Yep. I don't have a tinfoil hat, damn it. I should get one. Anyway, Scarlett, it's your turn, right?
No, Carl was in it.
You just read it, didn't you?
I just read.
Yeah.
Oh, it's my turn.
Yep. The more injured. Scarlett.
Sorry, I was just trying to find where I was.
Jeez. Do you want me to highlight it? You okay?
No, I'm good. The
Right.
most injured of the 3 was taken to the only surgical operating room that the facility had. In the process of preparing the subject to have his organs placed back within his body,
Wow.
it was found that he was effectively immune to the sedative they had given him to prepare him for the surgery. Wow, is he a horse? He's become a horse.
I was like, this is like the backstory for a villain in a comic book.
He actually is.
Yeah.
I may have ideas now.
Oh dear. He fought furiously against his restraints when the anaesthetic gas was brought out to put him under. He managed to tear most of the way through a 4-inch wide leather strap on one wrist, even through the weight of a 200-pound soldier holding that wrist as well. It took only a little more anaesthetic than normal to put him under. The instant his eyelids fluttered and closed, his heart stopped.
Woo.
Woo! In the
Sleep
autopsy
he died.
of the test subject that died on the operating table, it was found that his blood had triple the normal levels of oxygen.
Okay, well, he just hyperventilated that much.
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
Oh dear.
I don't know.
His muscles that were still attached to his skeleton were badly torn, and he had broken 9 bones in the struggle to not be subdued. Most of them were from Sorry, I just can't read.
Yeah, I know you.
Most of them were from the force of his own muscles had exerted on them. Jesus, did I have a stroke?
You know what? The same thing's been happening to me. Don't worry. All right.
Good.
Let
I'm on the line.
I went up too high. There we go. Oh boy, good thing I have water with me. The second survivor had been the first of the group 5 to start screaming. I nearly read that as Survivor because I'm so used to reading it badly.
Survivor?
Yeah, the second Survivor. Had been the first of the 5 to start screaming. His vocal cords destroyed. He was unable to beg or object to surgery. No consent, Jesus. He only reacted by shaking his head violently in disapproval when the anaesthetic gas was brought near him. He shook his head yes when someone suggested, reluctantly, they try the surgery without anaesthetic.
Could be worse.
Okay. Masochist now. And did not react for the entire 6-hour procedure of replacing his abdominal organs and attempting to cover them with what remained of his skin. Okay. The surgeon proceeding stated repeatedly that it should be medically impossible for the patient to still be alive. One terrified nurse assisting the surgery stated that she had seen the patient's mouth curl into a smile several times whenever his eyes met hers. Stranger danger, stranger danger.
Bad touch, bad touch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I say that.
Oh god. When the surgery ended, the subject looked at the surgeon and began to wheeze loudly, attempting to talk while struggling. Assuming this must have been some kind of drastic Assuming this must be something of drastic importance, the surgeon had a pen and pad fetched so the patient could write down his message. It was simple. Keep cutting.
I mean, I didn't know what else to do, so I just hit my desk.
The other 2 test subjects were given the same surgery, both of that anaesthetic as well. Although they had to be injected with a paralytic?
Paralytic.
New word. Paralytic for the duration of the operation. The surgeon found it impossible to perform the operation while the patients laughed continuously.
Okay. I'm guessing it's meant to make it. I guess it's meant to be like a sedation thing.
Yeah, so they can't move.
Yeah.
But they're still awake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they don't fall asleep and die.
Well, none of us are doctors here, so if anyone wants to correct us, feel free. Or we'll
Please
just Google it later.
Yes. Once paralysed, the subjects could only follow the attending researchers with their eyes. The paralytic cleared their system in an abnormally short period of time, and they were soon trying to escape their bonds. The moment they could speak, they were again asking for the stimulant gas. The researchers tried asking why they had injured themselves, why they had ripped out their own guts, and why they wanted to be given the gas again.
Only one response was given. I must remain awake. I mean, let me just roll it up. There we go.
All 3 subjects' restraints were reinforced, and they were placed back into the chamber, awaiting determination as to what should be done with them. The researchers, facing the wrath of their military benefactors for having failed other stated goals of their project, considered euthanizing the surviving subjects.
I mean, it would be a mercy killing at this point.
It really would. The commanding officer, an ex-KGB, instead saw potential. He wanted to see what would happen if they were put back on the gas.
Oh, God.
The researchers strongly objected, but they were overruled.
I mean, scientific curiosity, that's got to be something just like, I wonder.
Like, are we
Yeah, scientific curiosity plus, like, Soviet harshness.
Nothing beats it.
I mean, it's like an ex-KGB, I'm not sure what KGB stands for, but they said they were overruled, but it's one person, so how do they overrule one person? Unless more people... Are they?
The KGB overruled the researchers.
What's KGB?
KGB. Komitet Gorstory Gizno... Gostorovestonoy Bezopastonti. Jesus! Committee for State Security.
Oh, it doesn't stand
kind
for
of like the police.
it doesn't stand for Kentucky Fried Great Britain or something.
Kentucky Great Britain.
No, it doesn't.
Kentucky Great Britain, damn it. Okay. I mean...
Okay, so the ex-Kentucky Great Britain instead saw potential.
Yeah.
Wait, whose turn is it? I'm lost.
Mine.
Scar-
It's yours, okay.
So I really did stumble over the full title KGB. Sorry.
Well
In
done.
preparation for being sealed in the chamber again, the subjects were connected to an EEG monitor and had their restraints padded for long-term confinement.
Oh dear.
To everyone's surprise, all three stopped struggling the moment it was let slip that they were going back on the gas. It was obvious at the point that all three were putting up a great struggle to stay awake. One of the subjects that could speak was humming loudly and continuously. The mute subject was straining his leg against the leather bounds with all of his might. First left, then right, then left again for something to focus on. The remaining subject was holding his head off his pillow and blinking rapidly. Having been the first to be wired to the EEG, most of the researchers were monitoring his brainwaves in surprise. They were normal most of the time, but sometimes flatlined inexplicably.
Wow.
So he temporarily died.
Oh wow.
It looked as if he were... There we go. Looked as if he were repeatedly suffering brain death before returning to normal. That's fun. As they focused on paper scrolling out of the brainwave monitor, only one nurse saw his eyes flip shut at the same moment his head hit the pillow. His brainwaves immediately changed to that of a deep sleep, and then flatlined for the last time as his heart simultaneously stopped.
I was going to say, wouldn't he die? No, yep, he died. Okay, cool.
He's died many times. Oh, never mind, he's dead now.
Okay. Oh, we're near the end. Wow, okay. The remaining subject, is that where we are?
Yeah.
Yeah, the only remaining subject.
Okay, just make sure I hit the right thing. Okay, just get that off. Okay. The only remaining subject that could speak started screaming to be sealed in now. His brainwaves showed the same flat lines as the one who had just died from falling asleep. I mean, wasn't the gas meant to keep him awake? Wow, shit. The commander...
No, then I don't think they're on the gas yet.
Oh.
Not again, anyway.
Not yet.
Okay.
They're still being hooked up to the machines.
Oh. The commander gave the order to seal the chamber with both subjects inside, as well as 3 researchers. Wow, that's rude.
Whoa.
I mean, wouldn't they breathe in the gas too?
Yeah. Well, they don't care. That's Russia in the 40s.
Anastasia would be horrified.
I mean, Japan in the 40s wasn't any better. Let's be honest. Even their war crimes are quirky. That's not where an arm's supposed to be.
Oh my god.
Sorry.
That's fine.
Yeah.
The black line, just like before. The commander gave the order to seal the chamber with the 3 researchers. There we go. One of the named 3 immediately drew his gun and shot the commander point blank between the eyes, then turned the gun on the mute subject and blew his brains out as well. Like, when I said, why does anyone shoot them? Finally!
Yeah. He pointed his gun at the remaining subject, still restrained to a bed as the remaining members of the medical and research team fled the room. I won't be locked in here with these things, not with you, he screamed at the man strapped to the table. What are you? He demanded. I must know.
The subject smiled.
This guy's my favourite character now. Alright, do I have to do a stupid voice now?
No.
Have you forgotten so easily? The subject asked. We are you.
Oh no.
We are the madness that lurks within you, begging to be free at every moment in your deepest animal mind. We are what you hide from in your beds every night. We are what you sedate into silence and paralysis when you go to the nocturnal haven where we cannot tread. So, you're a nightmare? But you can't.
Yeah.
You can't hide. You can't hide from a nightmare by sleeping. That's kind of beside the point. You know.
That defeats the purpose.
I know. Like, you just therapy. I don't know.
Yeah. The researcher paused, then aimed at the subject's head and fired. The EEG flatlined as the subject weakly choked out. So nearly free.
That was
Unknown. Got a final line. Yes.
Oh wait, there's another line.
No, I was taking a piss.
Oh, original author unknown. Interesting. So, for what I get is that these guys just went completely
batshit.
Well, batshit. Yes, they just like this.
Technical term.
Like it went from them wanting freedom to like wanting to just forever stay awake, and as soon as they fall asleep, they die.
Yeah.
I mean, interesting.
Definitely a strange concept.
I wouldn't say this story is terrifying, if you know what I mean, but it's definitely
No.
like it's not going to keep me awake at night or anything like that. But
no, but it's well written.
yeah.
But yeah, it's based on the idea that different countries wanted their soldiers to be able to stay awake for longer during World War II, and certain countries would give their soldiers different drugs. I can't remember what it was specifically, but I believe it might have been speed or something that British soldiers were given.
All right. Oh yeah.
It was something like that. Yeah,
honestly,
and so
I'll never watch it because I'm not good with this sort of stuff. But I think this would have been scarier if it was visual. If you know what I mean.
What did the Nazis use? Oh yeah, the Nazis used meth.
yeah. Are you honestly surprised?
I did not know that.
I forgot they used meth. I was like, I knew it was a drug, a proper drug.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay, so I finally know what this is about, but like I said, there is a video up above, but I'm not going to play it because I don't want to, get struck with copyright or anything like that, because that would be bad.
Yeah.
But okay then, so for the next episode, are we going to go back to reading something bad again?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
Yep. So I guess this should just be one episode.
Yeah,
just a standalone.
All right.
Just the good one.
Let's see how long it takes before we have to read another good one when something truly breaks us.
Probably in the second
Sonic.exe. Yeah, I was going to say probably after the novel of Sonic.exe. Or part one of that other story that we're dreading to find.
Which one?
That one the one in this. I think it was it was either the
Oh,
first
that
or the second
one.
episode. Yeah, that one. I don't remember the name of it, nor do I care. So anyway, I have been and still am the Astral Alchemist.
We have been the Spotlight Saviors. We do have individual names, but meh.
Yeah, meh. And
we are the same person.
Not quoting Jeff the Killer here. Go to sleep. Don't be me. Stay up until 4:30 in the morning playing Xenoblade. Bye, boys.
Yeah, you've done that a lot.
Anything to add?
Bugger all.
Nope. Okay. Bye.